Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast with Michelle Chalfant, a place to delve into who we are, how we got that way, and explore what it takes to be a healthy grown-up. With an extensive toolbox and guests with varied expertise, Michelle will lead us on a journey to learn what it's like to live authentically and to love ourselves just the way we are. And now, here's Michelle.
Hello, everybody. It is Michelle Chalfant. I am chatting with you from my adult chair today. I hope you all are seated in your adult chairs as you listen to this. It's going to be a good one. Today's a good one. I'm also chatting with you from the empty nest. I think I told you all last time that we're dropping the boys off at college, and this has been a very unique experience because the younger son, who just graduated from high school last year, joined the big brother at University of Tennessee, and now they're both gone. So we are living in an empty nest, and it is bizarre, I have to say. It's not even bizarre, it's quiet. The quiet is what's bizarre. It's just like no one to cook dinner for, just kind of strange. I always would make my son dinner and like put it in the fridge because he'd go to school and soccer and work and all this. So he would always eat like late, and it's just been weird not having to do that. And I'd always get up in the morning and make him his smoothie before I'd go to work, and we'd talk for our 5 minutes in the morning, and that's gone. So it's been a lot of emotions, but it's been good. And boys are doing well. It's been just a journey. So it's as sometimes moments of sad as it is exciting, because it's like, wow, what do I want to do with my life now? In other words, where do I want to move? And kind of cool, kind of fun. So if any of you are also experiencing the kids off to college or even back to school, I know it's such a change. So hope you're all doing well with that. Make sure you're seated in your adult chair and feeling your emotions as well. Let them flow, people. Just let it flow through. The tears, the joy, all of it, let it go through. All right. We've got a great show today for you. I'm talking with you today about, it is not a misprint, by the way, the joy of codependency. You heard me correctly, the joy of codependency. Yeah. I first need to say to you, though, something that is very exciting. And you always ask me about this, everybody out there. So I'm announcing the adult chair is coming to San Antonio. Make sure you get on it. We have a lot of people that have already signed up. We are only taking 50. And gosh, when is it? It's October 24th, 25th, and 26th, 3 days. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday in October. Go to theadultchair.com/events and get all the information there, register there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I look forward to seeing you in San Antonio. I've never been there. We're staying right on the Riverwalk. I hear it's fun and gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. So this morning, I had an experience with my husband. I was getting ready for work. I was in the kitchen. I was really doing a lot of things. I just was making my breakfast, making my lunch, getting water. I was like doing all these things and sort of tasking. And as you know, when we do that, oftentimes, this is not bad, by the way, but we just slip into that kind of robotic state and we're not as aware. And then my husband breezes into the kitchen and he's tasking and he's getting ready for his day. And I'm blending my smoothie. And I sat there as I was blending it. I was just paused for a moment and I said, why do I feel myself filling with anxiety? This is so bizarre. Like, what happened? I'm just blending a smoothie. It makes no sense. And I turned to my husband and I said, hey, what's going on with you? He said nothing, but I could feel his energy was off. I could feel something was going on. And he did not say what it was when I asked him, but I could feel he was stressed about something, upset with something, unhappy about something, mad about something. I don't know what it was, but I could feel he was off. And because I know myself so well, I realized, oh my goodness, I am feeling anxiety because he is in the house or he's near me and he's feeling off. And that really activates my old codependency. And I have to then, again, this is the old pattern, go in and fix that so then I can feel better. However, because I've learned how to live in my adult chair, I don't do that anymore. It's just a habit. I don't do it anymore. So that is what I'm talking with you about today. So I had this whole experience this morning in the kitchen, and I got myself out of it within minutes. I don't even know if it was 2 minutes. It was so quick. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to share with you what happened and how I got myself out of it and how quickly I got myself out of it. And I want you to know every single time we do that, it gets the time of self-correction gets easier and easier and easier and faster and faster and faster until it just, we stop getting triggered. And I don't get nearly as triggered as I used to many years ago being codependent. So I want you all to know if you struggle with codependency or you feel terrible about your codependency or you feel doomed or damaged or whatever it is, stop it, because that was me. In fact, if you Google codependency, you're probably going to see a picture of Michelle Brindisi Chalfant right there. There's my face. So I know codependency. Let me tell you what. And I also know how to transform it. And I say that because I've done it with myself. It is a journey, but we can get there with raised awareness. So if you're listening and you're thinking, oh my Lord, do I have codependency? I have no idea. I just want to talk to you just a second about it before I get to what happened. Oh, I didn't even tell you. So what happened was I had that experience with my husband, and it was so cool how I jumped right out of it. I was able to get myself right out of it. So on the way to work, I grabbed my phone, and I sometimes will just record things in my phone for a later use. And it's like a minute or two, just like notes, just to remind me. And I started to record, and it turned into much longer than 1 or 2 minutes. And it became, by the end, I was like, gosh, this is so good. I really want to be able to share this. So that's what you're going to hear today. That's one of my, if you're an old time listener of mine, it's one of my drive time downloads because the information just kept flowing through. And I thought, you know what? This is a great podcast. So that's what you're going to hear today. But first, I just want to review with you just a couple different aspects of what codependency is. When we grow up codependent, what happens is we have a disconnection from ourselves or from the self, and we lose ourselves. We really oftentimes lose our childhoods because we become caretakers at a young age. That was my experience. When I was 6 was my first memory of actually caretaking with my mom and trying to keep the household quiet because there were drinkers and there was upsetness. And since no one else was keeping the household quiet, I felt like it was my job. It was my responsibility. And I was trying to make sure there was peace in the house. And I know you guys know this about me, but if you're a new listener, what I'm talking about is not just mom, dad, sister. It was mom, dad, sister, aunts, uncles, grandmother, cousins. We all lived together in the summer at this home on a lake. And that's where so much of this is rooted in. And it just kind of continued on and on and on throughout my life. But what happens is we lose our childhoods. We become these caretakers, which takes away from our childhoods. We become these fixers, these caretakers, and then we start feeling lost or alone, or part of us feels really empty on the inside. We can't imagine our lives without taking care or putting others first, or what I call, let's put this in air quotes, everybody, helping others, which is really fixing. And what I learned about codependency, just with my own experience and with my own clients, is it becomes an addiction. It really does become an addiction. We become addicted to this, again, air quotes, like helping others, caretaking for others. And we don't know who we are if we're not doing that. So when we're not doing that, we start falling into this abyss of like, gosh, I'm losing myself. I don't know who I am. As codependents, we are very outwardly focused. We're very focused on what's going on in the environment. Is somebody outside of me feeling bad, like my husband was this morning? Or that's what I was at least feeling or projecting or thinking. Again, so much of the time it's not even true, but we are just scanning the environment all the time, looking for what's wrong. And then unconsciously, we zoom in to fix it. Hear me say, again, I'm going to say it loud, unconsciously. So don't beat up on yourself if this is you. Do not beat up on yourself. We zoom in and think, I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. It is absolutely exhausting to live like this. And we don't know who we are. That's the part that is exciting about today's show, is we don't know who we are. But today I'm going to talk to you about the joy in finding out who we are. Okay? So what we want to do to heal and transform is to become more inwardly focused. And it's really a journey of self-discovery and learning, like, who am I? Who am I? And I know when I sit with clients, so many of us sit here on the couch with me and they'll go, oh my God, I'm so codependent. I'm never going to be able to heal this. How am I going to stop this? My life is a disaster. I'm such a bad person. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep attracting the same partners? Why? I hate myself. I hear this all the time from people that have codependency or live with codependency. And I really want to spin it for you today, because I spun it for myself and it actually felt good. And that's where I got the title. I'm like, there's actually joy in codependency. I'm not saying that there's a joy in our childhoods being really taken away from us, but there's a joy in the discovery process of now. There's so much of us that we don't know. We don't know who we are. So there's this, when we start focusing inward and discovering who we are, it's like, whoa. Everything starts to change, and it's such a beautiful journey. It really is. So it's your choice. You can see this codependency as this awful thing and negative, and I would invite you to tune into your bodies and ask, how does it make you feel to see this codependency in that way? Or you can say to yourself, okay, great. This is what I've been living with. What Michelle just said sounds vaguely familiar to me. And oh my God, I think this might be me. Wonderful. This is great news. Now, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? So it is about this inward focus and shifting and seeing it as a positive, because you caught it now. I don't care how old you are. You caught it right now. And let's start transforming it now. Hear me again. We can transform anything. You've got to have the will, the desire, and the intention and awareness. You can't catch it if you're not aware. You cannot catch it. The old me, based on what happened this morning with my husband, would have reacted in a much different way. What do you mean nothing's wrong? You seem really off. Can you tell me what's going on? I want to know what's going on. Why aren't you talking? You seem quiet. And I would have peppered him with questions. Now, I asked one question and I turned back toward myself and said, okay, hold on a second. And I explained to you in today's show what I did. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm suddenly calm. And that took maybe a minute. Maybe. It's that fast, people. I promise you, it's that fast. You know what? This is not selfish to say this. It's our job to stay connected to ourselves so we can remain and become, I should say become and remain the best version of ourselves, the best and highest version of ourselves. That's living in the adult chair. So that's our job. It's not selfish. I want to know, let me tell you something. If I was not connected to myself this morning, when my husband had that experience and he walked in the kitchen, he was in a bad mood. If I was not connected to myself, I would not have known that I had anxiety. I would not have known that everything inside of me started feeling shaky and I was disconnecting from myself. If my focus is outside of myself on others, I miss what's going on inside of me. I've got to stay connected with myself first, then I can inquire outside of me. Notice I said inquire, not fix, not change. We can't change anybody but ourselves. Hear me again. We cannot change anyone but ourselves. Have you tried and have you been successful? I'm going to say most of the time, if not all, we fail at it because the idea for change has to come from within. We have to make the decision on the inside of us to create and make change. So we can become beautiful models for other people. And I can't hear that inner voice that's going to help me change if I'm disconnected from myself. It really is all about staying connected to ourselves. We can transform anything when we're like this. I don't care if it's codependency, anxiety, depression, self-esteem, self-confidence, you name it. If you're connected to yourself, everything changes in your life. That's living in the adult chair. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and I'm going to let you guys listen to this. And at the end of the podcast today, I am adding links to other podcasts. I've done 3 other podcasts on codependency. I will put those in the end of this podcast. I will also put them in the show notes at theadultchair.com. And you will be able to see and go and click on those other podcasts that go over these very different aspects of codependency. But the one thing I'm also going to share with you is I have theadultchair.com/inner child. It's free, because I want to help you guys transform this codependency. And one of the key aspects to connecting with ourselves is getting back in touch with the inner child. So that resource that I have created is so helpful for so many people. So I'll tell you about that at the end. So I'm just going to, again, shut my mouth, enjoy. And again, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you thought about this show. I love hearing feedback, comments, questions. So hit me up on social media. I'm at michelle.chalfant on Instagram. And of course, I'm all over Facebook and LinkedIn and all of those social media outlets. So go ahead. Here we go with the show. Codependency is a disconnection from self and an outward false connection to others and an outward focus. We disconnect from ourselves when we're children because we might have grown up in an abusive household, in an alcoholic household, in a household where our parents demanded that we as children not affect their emotional barometer. In other words, they might have wanted quiet in the house. They might have gotten upset when we as children were too loud or did bad in school. So we did everything we could as children in order to maintain this peaceful reality at home. But in order to do that, we abandoned ourselves. So as adults, we live these lives where we have this outward focus, where I'm more concerned about people outside of myself than what's going on with me. So when we're working with codependency and the healing and transformation of codependency, it's almost, it isn't almost, it really is this rediscovery of ourselves. It's like, gosh, what am I feeling? Because I don't know what I'm feeling because I'm so focused, or I've lived a life of focus outwardly. I want to know what you're feeling. It doesn't matter what I'm feeling. I'll adjust myself in order to make sure that you're okay. And that is not a way to live. And I lived that way for so much of my life, and I still work on it. I caught myself this morning. My husband seemed to be in an off place. He just seemed like he was in a bad mood. And I was making my Ticino and making my smoothie, getting ready to go to work and making all my fluids. And I was standing there waiting for my smoothie to finish blending. And I paused and I thought, oh my God, I'm filled with anxiety. What the hell is going on here? And I realized, I sat with it and I'm like, it's because he's off. He feels like he's in a bad mood, and that starts making me nervous. So I stopped what I was doing, turned off my blender, and I said, hold on a second. I am an adult. I am 51 years old. And if he is in a bad mood, it is okay. And I just started talking to myself from my adult chair. I was just in my adult voice, in my adult chair. And then I got a visual of my little girl inside, and I said, what's going on with you? And she was shaking, like literally visibly to me, because I am very visual. She was shaking. She says, this isn't good. This isn't good. And I said, wait a minute. It's okay. Like, it's really, really okay. He can have a bad mood, and it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with anything I've done. And that's the false belief of the codependent, is we believe if someone outside of us is in a bad mood, that we must have had something to do with it. It must be because I've done something And if I haven't done something, I'm going to figure out who did something or what did something to make that person feel in a bad mood. Well, you know what, guys? It's not our responsibility to take care of anybody but ourselves. Now, it's not to say that we don't care about them and inquire. In fact, I did say to my husband, I said, hey, are you okay today? He goes, yeah, I'm good. And I said, okay. So it's his responsibility to share with me if there is something that was wrong with him that I've done or that anybody did. And if he doesn't want to share with me, okay. It's not my job to dig and keep fixing and go in and try to figure out what the heck is wrong with him and why he's in such a bad mood and et cetera, et cetera. It's not my job. And from our adult chair, from that healthy voice that we have, and if we don't have that healthy voice because we're so stuck in the codependency voice, this is why I do these shows, because I try to give you the voice of what healthy sounds like. So that's when you say something to yourself like, wait a minute, I am me, and that person outside of me is them, fill in the blank with their name. And it's okay for people to have bad days. I'm okay. And this is what I did with myself this morning. I'm okay if he's in a bad mood and if he's not okay. And there's a lot of really nice, soft, slow self-talk that we have to do with ourselves, number one. And number two, again, I had stopped. This took me a matter of minutes, by the way. This does not take hours. It took me minutes. And I started to breathe slowly. And it really helps too when you take one hand on your belly, just put it right over your belly button. It hits the lower chakras, the second and third, and then the heart. And I really feel like that connects the adult to the child part of us. And I took some very slow, deep breaths. And I just kept saying to myself, I am okay. I am okay. So you find an affirmation that resonates with you. And that's the kind of thing that you say to yourself when you feel stuck, when you feel lost, when you feel anxious. You've got to bring yourself back to you, because when we have codependency within us and we have grown up like that, we very quickly disconnect and go outside and try to fix and try to quote unquote help. We think it's help. It's not help, y'all. It's not. It's not help. There's a very, very fine line, because I get asked this question a lot. Like, well, isn't that inconsiderate? I can ask, like I said to my husband, are you okay? Is there anything I can do? No, I'm good. Okay. That's it. And then I have to let it go. And that's what when we have codependency inside of us, or the codependency training, I call it, or the habit of codependency. Because by the way, we can heal and transform anything. We're not stuck with this forever. But life is a journey, as they say. And that's why it's this ongoing catching it. The more aware we are, awareness is key to all this. The more aware we are, the more we catch these slips that we might have. And it's like an oops moment. There's no beating up on the self. There's no self-blame. It's like, oops, I did it again. Oh, well, that's what we say from our adult chair. It's like, oh, well, I did it again. I'm going to get back on the healthy train. What do I need to do? Oh, okay. I'm going to talk nicely to myself. I'm going to take some slow, deep breaths with my hand on my heart and on my belly area. And I'm going to, if I want, which I did too, you can get a visual of that inner child part and just let her know or him know that everything's okay. This is like such the beautiful beginning of separation from others in a very, very healthy way. And the discovery of you. That's what's so cool about this transformation out of the habit of codependency, is we get to learn who we are. And I have to say, I'm so excited, because it's this journey that is just ever evolving. think we ever reach the end. Until, we're in the graveyard, we don't. So have fun with life and stop beating up on yourself if you are. And just know that, gosh, this is so exciting. I'm going to discover more of who I am. I realize that for myself and a lot of people that had the codependency threads in their childhood, we really lose our childhoods. It's like I think when I think back, I had such a great childhood, but there was so much alcohol with my uncle and grandma. And of course we all lived together, and I lost part of myself. Of course, I've got all the qualities of the adult child of the alcoholic as well. And we lose ourselves and don't know who we are and become someone else to please others and to keep peace in the household. We got to stop that. And there's a joy in the journey of discovering who we are and getting those parts back. So just doing the work that I did this morning just now is so cool because I got a little bit more of Michelle back, and you guys can do the same exact thing. So for me, I was raised in this household of my father was always so afraid I was going to get hurt, stolen, or sick. So he never wanted me to leave the house. He wanted me to stay home. My mother was not allowed to take me to things like the farmer's market or the mall or things like that when I was really little. But he instilled all these extremely fear-based thoughts and beliefs inside of me. That's why, again, I don't know exactly why, but if I had to make a wild guess, that's why I grew up with such social anxiety, because all the seeds were of the world is unsafe, the world is unsafe, the world is unsafe. So, but look how far I've come. I mean, I feel like I've come so far, but it still trips me up. No doubt about it. And I have to work with it in every moment. But there's this self-discovery that's happening of even through this fear that might pop up again. It's just like the codependency stuff. So what if it pops up? I sit with it. I sit in it. I breathe through it. And then I keep going. And the self-discovery is doing things like going to restaurants alone, which has always been very scary for me. And I listen to people that say they do that. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to travel alone. I'm like, my adult wants to do that. And my little child gets so scared. So I work with her, and it's so fun now going to restaurants. And I sit there. And the first time I did it, I was really scared and I was a ball of anxiety. And I sat and did some self-soothing the whole time. And then the next time I did it. So that's something that I'm working on. But think about how this codependency has held you back in your life. What aspects of you, and again, we don't know because it's always unfolding, but what parts of you do you want to discover more of? What do you want to do that codependency has been holding you back from? So it can be a really fun journey. And don't go back and blame anybody. Who cares about the past? We're living in the moment. We're living in the now. But as you gaze into your future, like, what do you want to do? Go do it. Go do it. Be brave with your life. There is so much to live for. There is so much unfolding for you. And do not let this codependency hold you back. It's okay. It's all going to be okay. So, and I know that, and I speak from lots of years of experience with this. So anyway, it's just a little tidbit for you guys on codependency. I experience it less and less, but when it pops up, it's like, oop, another part, and it's okay. So, all right, that's it. It's one of these drive time downloads from my car, and hope you guys enjoyed it. All righty. What'd you think? What'd you think? I hope you were as impressed with that as I was. I was really impressed with myself, how I turned it around. And I really want you to know it's that simple. The adult chair, this model that I created is simple. A lot of people say to me, this is like simple psychology. I'm like, yeah, you don't need years and years and years and years and years to correct this stuff. With the right tools, and that's what I want to give all of you. That's one of the reasons I record this show. I want to offer you simple tools. That's what this whole adult chair model is about. Simple tools that create change and transformation within the self. This is a method to help you to self-realize, meaning, who are you really? self-realization is about like uncovering all the crap, all the masks, all the yuck that we are not, and realizing who you really are. So I hope you enjoyed this show. As I said in the beginning, I have created an inner child resource for whomever would like it. You go to theadultchair.com/inner child. There are two meditations. The first one is all about how we access the inner child, because a lot of people say, I don't know how to do it. I created a guided meditation just to teach you how to do it so that then you can form a bond with your own inner child. The other one that I created for you, it's an inner child meditation specifically for codependency, lack of self-love, and negative programming. People love these two meditations. I also, in this resource, give you a how-to guide. So once you connect with your inner child, then what do? There's a whole how-to part. There's 6 steps, 6 ideas on how you can then communicate, bond with, etc. with your inner child. And then I give you 7 days of journaling prompts. You can do them once a week, once a day. It does not matter, but there are big prompts to help you really go deeper within yourself. Again, remember, it's about staying connected with yourselves. So that's what I've got for you. theadultchair.com/inner child. Go check that out. It is key to transforming codependency because it is all about getting connected to yourselves. That's the part, remember, with codependency that we disconnect from is the inner child. So a very quick way to start healing and transforming codependency is to reconnect with that part of us. That's why I created this. It's 100% free. Go check it out. All right. The other thing, let's see. I'm going to put this in the show notes, so do not worry. 3 different podcasts I've already done on codependency. I did number 11. It was the 11th one I ever did, codependency, and it's called I'm Okay If You're Okay. Number 70, ending codependency in relationships. How about that one? And number 127, codependency, ending the addiction to help, air quotes, others. I'll put all those in the show notes as well. So if you feel like you want further help with codependency, you've got 3 more podcasts. And if there's anything at all you ever want to hear on the Adult Chair podcast, there's a search bar on the podcast page. Just go to theadultchair.com/podcast. Scroll down. You'll see a search bar. Put in any topic you can think of. I've probably done a show on that topic and it will pop up. So that is that. That is all I've got for you today. Again, one last thing. Don't forget the Adult Chair in San Antonio. It's going to be an awesome event. theadultchair.com/events. Okay, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. I will see you seated right here next week in the Adult Chair.